feel like he's like a bully fighter. He's a great fighter. He's put in the time. He's put in the work. One thing that happens when you haven't had the octagon time, you find yourself getting ahead in the rankings without proving a lot. There's like a lot of fear in the unknown. And there is maybe a tougher layer of skin that Aspinall hasn't developed because of how short his fights have been. When I was 23 years old, I was fighting the top guys in the world. I'm seeing Tom Aspinall around that same age getting manhandled by people that no one's ever heard of. So I've seen him tapped out twice. I watched the Curtis Blaydes situation where he looked like Curtis Blaydes came to beat Tom Aspinall up that night. Curtis was confident, came right at Tom. He was landing great strikes. Tom throws a kick and magically gets hurt. Blowing your knee is blowing your knee. But I would expect a fighter that blew his knee to at least attempt to stand back up, or at least limp, or at least try to walk on it. And with Tommy, he was just completely out of the fight. These are things that I'm paying attention to. And his last situation with Ciryl Gane, he gets poked in the eye. Normally you see fighters that are doing this number, or trying to get the doctor to look at it, and actually, initially, the doctor's just like, he seems fine. Yeah. And Tom's like, no, I can't fight. The guy wasn't trying to see.
What is it about Jon Jones that you feel like this is the next step in your career?
Lutar com o Jon Jones, meu interesse por quem ele é, né? Um cara que fez muito pelo esporte, tem um nome muito grande. E eu tô vindo também, meu nome tá crescendo cada dia. E acho que é uma luta interessante para mim, para ele, acho que para todo mundo ali, né? Então, as duas partes já mostraram interesse, né? Falta aí o UFC se pronunciar e vamos ver o que dá.
Jon Jones just called Tom Aspinall a coward. Yeah, you heard that right. The GOAT himself isn't mincing words anymore. Jones is out here saying he doesn't want a coward in the octagon. He wants a brave fighter like Alex Pereira. This is massive, people. We're talking about the greatest fighter of all time, straight up questioning Tom Aspinall's heart, his courage, his warrior spirit. And it all stems from what Jones witnessed in that controversial fight against Ciryl Gane.
I don't love the spin and leaky here early. He's being scared. The wolf. Look like an eye poke there has gone.
Dana White has been trying to make Jones versus Aspinall happen, but Jones is saying no way. And wait until you hear his reasons. This isn't just fight talk, this is character assassination. Jones's explosive interview, his Twitter bombs, and why he's calling out Aspinall's courage while praising Pereira as the real challenge.
But other than that, Jon Jones behind the scene is not a guy that turns down fights.
Would you guarantee 100% we see that fight?
Yeah, I'll say 100%.
In the UFC heavyweight division, Jon Bones Jones just dropped an atomic bomb on Tom Aspinall, and the fallout is insane. Picture this. The greatest mixed martial artist of all time looks at the camera and essentially says, Tom Aspinall, he's a coward. I don't fight cowards. I want brave warriors like Alex Pereira. Can you believe it? Jones is straight up questioning Aspinall's heart, his courage, his warrior spirit, and he's got receipts to back it up.
Tom's a great athlete, but I do feel like he's a one-trick pony. I believe that his wrestling and jiu-jitsu is incredibly overrated. He has a beautiful 1-2. That's really about it. That's the one thing that he's setting up real nice. He couldn't touch Ciryl Gane at all. That's the way I felt. I felt like Gane was just getting warmed up.
Dana White has been pushing for Jones versus Aspinall, calling it the biggest fight in heavyweight history. But Jones is pumping the brakes, saying, I don't need him, especially after his last performance.
Tom Aspinall, I didn't read it. I told you guys already, we'll get Aspinall versus Jones done. Jon Jones versus, the heavyweight fight will happen. Just relax. I'll announce that soon.
So what did Jones see that made him call Aspinall a coward? Why does he want Pereira instead? And what does this mean for the historic White House card? The first one is more direct and punchy, while the second builds more drama and suspense. Both emphasize the coward accusation and the Pereira comparison while mentioning Dana's involvement in trying to make the Aspinall fight happen.
I'm at a place now where, I want to take what I find to be super fights. I don't want to fight dangerous up-and-comers anymore. I want to fight dangerous, established champions. So Tom can have the heavyweight championship. I don't really care about it. That my value doesn't lie in belts anymore. I've created something much bigger. I want Pereira.
Jones went on record saying, and I quote, "I don't feel like I need him, especially after his last performance. I think time will show the world who I am, what I've done, and just because someone's newer or maybe more exciting doesn't mean that they replace what is already here."
I don't feel like I need him, especially after his last performance. I think time will show the world kind of who I am and what I've done. And, you know, just because someone's newer or maybe more exciting doesn't mean that they replace what is already here.
That's a direct shot, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let's talk about what really set Jones off. The Aspinall versus Ciryl Gane fight. This is where things get controversial. Jones had already criticized Aspinall for some of his past performances, but watching him refuse to continue in his most recent fight against Ciryl Gane after getting eye-poked told him everything he needed to know about the reigning UFC heavyweight champion.
I feel like he's like a bully fighter. One thing that happens when you haven't had the octagon time, you know, you find yourself getting ahead in the rankings without proving a lot. There is like maybe a tougher layer of skin that Aspinall hasn't developed.
Here's what Jones observed, and this is detailed analysis from a guy who's been in the octagon for over a decade. Jones said, his last situation with Ciryl Gane, he gets poked in the eye. Normally you see fighters checking their eye or trying to get the doctor to look at it. Actually, initially the doctor's like, he seems fine, and Tom's like, no, I can't fight, I can't see. The guy wasn't trying to see. The guy didn't want to see.
These are things that I'm paying attention to. And his last situation with Ciryl Gane, he gets poked in the eye. Normally you see fighters that are doing this number or, you know, trying to get the doctor to look at it. And actually, initially, the doctor's just like, he seems fine. And Tom's like, no, I can't
see. I can't see. And the ref was like, hey, don't say that. Take some time.
The guy wasn't trying to see. Yeah. The guy didn't want to see.
But wait, there's more? Jones pointed out something even more suspicious. Another thing was the eye that he was covering appeared to be the eye that didn't get penetrated. One eye, the finger goes all the way underneath the eyelid. The other eye was on top of the eyelid, and he ended up grabbing the eye where the finger was on top of the eyelid.
And then another thing was like the eye that he was covering appeared to be the eye that actually didn't get penetrated. Yeah. You know, one eye, the finger goes all the way underneath the eyelid. The other eye, it was on top of the eyelid. And he ends up grabbing the eye where the finger was on top of the eyelid.
And here's the knockout blow from Jones. I don't even think Tom really knew which eye was supposed to be more compromised. He just knew that he had been fouled, and it was his way out.
So I don't even think Tom really knew which eye was supposed to be more compromised. He just knew that he had been fouled, and it was his way out.
That's essentially calling Aspinall a quitter, folks. Now, this isn't just about one fight. Jones has done his homework, and he's identified a pattern in Aspinall's career that concerns him. Jones went deep into fight analysis mode, saying he watched everything, from Aspinall's early career taps to his injury against Curtis Blades. He's looking at the complete picture of who Tom Aspinall is as a fighter. Jones still complimented Aspinall as a fighter, noting, I still think Tom is an amazing athlete. I think he's a great fighter. Recon is really important. Having information on what you're going up against is really important.
So, I mean, I still think Tom's an amazing athlete. I think he's a great fighter. The recon is really important. You know, having information on what you're going up against is really important.
And honestly, when you hear his reasoning, it's hard to argue with the logic. Jones said about Pereira, he has that it factor. That's part of the reason I want to compete against Pereira. I feel as if the brand that he represents, the energy that he has behind him will be remembered more than just 5 years from now.
But he has that it factor, and that's a part of the reason why I wanted to compete against Pereira. I felt as if the brand that he represents, the energy that he has behind him, will be remembered more than just 5 years from now.
Then Jones dropped this comparison that really puts things in perspective. For example, Aspinall just had a close fight and people are already writing him off. His journey hasn't even started yet, and he's already almost moved on. I feel like Pereira, fighting a guy like that, would just bring so much more to the table for me.
For example, Aspinall just had a close fight and people are already writing him off. Yeah. His journey hasn't even started yet and he's already almost moved on. Yeah. I feel like Pereira, fighting a guy like that, it would just bring so much more to the table for me.
Now here's where it gets really interesting for fight fans. Jones actually broke down how he'd approach both fights, and guess what? He says they're essentially the same. Jones explained, when you simplify it like that, it's more a matter of legacy. What would make more sense? Do you fight the guy in Tom Aspinall who is impressive right now, who I don't think anybody is really going to care about in a few years from now? Or do you fight the guy in Alex Pereira, who's going to be remembered around the world for a very long time?
Simplify it like that. Now it's a more matter of legacy. What would make more sense?
Yeah.
Do you fight the guy who is impressive right now, who no one, I don't think, is going to really care about a few years from now? Or do you fight the guy who's going to be remembered around the world for a very long time? I mean,
Jones laid out his strategy saying, I feel as if my clearest path to victory in both of those fights would be to get them to the ground at some point. To strike with them, I know that I can. I've stood with every fighter in the world. I've held my space, if not won, against every fighter in the world in kickboxing. So my goal would be to kickbox until I find my moment, get the fight on the ground, go for a submission, or go for a TKO.
I feel as if my clearest path to victory in both of those fights would be to get them to the ground at some point, to strike with them like I know that I can. I've stood with every fighter in the world. Yeah. I've held my space, if not won, against every fighter in the world in kickboxing. So my goal would be to kickbox until I find my moment and to get the fight on the ground, go for a submission or go for a TKO.
Can't wait to see you compete. The White House, can't wait to see it.
I know. I really hope it happens. Dana, bro, please, I'm training. I feel great. I'm healthy. And I'd be so honored to represent our country and do what I do best.
Jon Jones drops a massive bombshell to Dana White, publicly begging to be added to the historic UFC White House card. But Dana's response? Let's just say things just got real interesting. Stay tuned because what happens next will shock you. At Thursday night's Dirty Boxing 4 event in Nashville, Tennessee, Jones was asked about the upcoming UFC White House card, and what he said next sent shockwaves through the MMA community. Dana, please bro, please. I'm training, I feel great, I'm healthy, and I'd be so honored to represent our country and do what I do best. This wasn't just a casual comment. This was Jones, on his knees metaphorically, begging for a spot on the most historic UFC event ever conceived. The event is scheduled for June 14th, 2026, at the White House itself, celebrating the 250th anniversary of the United States.
So every one of our national park, battlefields, and historic sites are going to have special events in honor of America 250. And I even think we're going to have a UFC fight. Does anybody watch UFC, the great Dana White? We're going to have a UFC fight. We're going to have a UFC fight. Think of this, on the grounds of the White House. We have a lot of land there. We're going to build a little, we're not, Dana's going to do it. Dana's great, one of a kind. We're going to have a UFC fight, championship fight, full fight, like 20, 25,000 people. And we're going to do that as part of 250 also. We're going to have some incredible events, some professional events, some amateur events. But the UFC fight's going to be a big deal too.
Jones was at the event supporting his teammate Gable Steveson, who secured a devastating 13-second knockout victory. But all eyes were on Jones when he grabbed the microphone. You could hear the desperation, the genuine desire in his voice. This is a man who knows he's messed up, who knows he's burned bridges, but still believes he deserves one more shot at glory.
Cannabis-infused elevated seltzers, Gable Steveson, Billy Swanson, we're set to go in our main event at PBS 4.
This is the fight we all came here to see tonight. Here we go. Ooh. Oh!
Stevenson!
He had those hands. He's been working on those hands, and he looked tremendous just now. Wow. Amazing.
But here's where things get complicated. Dana White has made it crystal clear that Jon Jones is not in his good books right now. In fact, White gave Jones odds of 1,000,000,000 to 1 of appearing on the White House card. Why such harsh words for his biggest star? Let's break it down. Earlier this year, Jones allegedly agreed to a massive $30 million deal to fight heavyweight champion Tom Aspinall. But then, he backed out. Instead of taking the fight, Jones announced his retirement. That retirement lasted just a few weeks before he retired, but the damage was done.
The greatest fighter of all time, talking about Johnny Bones Jones, is more than likely going to fight Tom Aspinall, and more than likely gonna be paid around $30 million.
This wasn't the first time Jones has left Dana and the UFC hanging. Over his legendary career, Jones has been responsible for canceled main events, a completely canceled pay-per-view card, and even had an event moved from Las Vegas to Los Angeles at the last minute. He's been stripped of titles multiple times and has relinquished 2 championship belts. The pattern is undeniable. In September, White didn't hold back. He said, and I quote, "Jon Jones is the greatest of all time. I still know that to be a fact. But he's not the greatest of all time guys you can count on that you know 100% is going to be solid and be there."
The greatest fighter to ever live is Jon Jones. Never lost a fight. Because when you really think about fighting, put 2 guys in a room and who comes out? Jon Jones walks out of that room every time. He doesn't go for that arm bar. He beats Francis Ngannou and becomes the heavyweight champion. Jon Jones walked through him like it was nothing. And when you really think about what pound for pound means, Jon Jones is the pound for pound best.
Let's address the elephant in the room. Tom Aspinall. The current UFC heavyweight champion has been calling for this fight, and Jones wants absolutely nothing to do with it.
Jon Jones is probably watching this, so send him a message.
Hello, Jon. I have nothing against you personally, but I just think I'm better than you. I just know that I can beat you in a fight, so I'm coming for it.
At the DBX4 weigh-ins, Jones showed up on a horse wearing an eye patch, a not-so-subtle dig at Aspinall. But when it comes to actually fighting him, crickets. The MMA community has been brutal in their criticism. Fans and analysts alike have accused Jones of ducking Aspinall, afraid that the younger, hungrier champion might end his legendary run. Jones has publicly apologized for the retirement drama and acknowledged that he understands why he's not in Dana's good graces, but actions speak louder than words.
You retired, but now it seems like you're getting back into it.
Yes,
Can you just explain it, break it down for us a little bit?
I was retired. I felt like I was at a place where I've done it all in the MMA space, and felt like there wasn't too many more challenges for me, and I just wanted to do something more than championships and money. And Donald Trump mentioned that he wanted to have a fight at the White House Garden, and that just seems like such a huge opportunity. Just to be able to entertain the country and the world at this level at the White House, it just means the world to me. So I'm back.
Instead, Jones has his eyes on a super fight with light heavyweight champion Alex Pereira. He even tweeted, "Alex, I'd be down to bring the highest skill level to the White House. Let's dance." And to be fair, this fight has massive appeal. Both champions, both devastating finishers, both with legitimate claims to greatness. UFC commentator Joe Rogan even suggested putting the BMF belt on the line for this matchup. So after Jones's public plea at Dirty Boxing 4, all eyes turned to Dana White. Would he soften his stance? Would he give the GOAT another chance? Dana took to Twitter and his message was short but spoke volumes. The UFC boss has remained firm that he won't start putting together the White House card until February 2026, giving Jones a small window to prove he's reliable. But right now, it's not looking good for Bones.
It's not even about him winning the belt. You know how I felt about him. I can't risk putting him in big positions in a big spot and have something go wrong, especially the White House card.
What makes this situation even more interesting is the political angle. Jon Jones celebrated his last victory at UFC 309 against Stipe Miocic by doing President Donald Trump's signature dance. Trump was in attendance that night, and Jones clearly wants to perform for him again at the White House. There's genuine patriotism in Jones's plea. He wants to represent his country on the biggest stage, but wanting something and earning it are two different things. The card is shaping up to be absolutely stacked with or without Jon Jones. Dana has made it clear he wants reliability over star power for this particular event. He needs fighters who will show up, make weight, and deliver a performance worthy of the occasion. Let's talk about Jon Jones' recent track record, because context matters here. At 38 years old, Jones has a career record of 28-1. That single loss? A disqualification against Matt Hamill back in 2009. A fight many believe he was winning before the controversial stoppage. His last fight at UFC 309 was dominant. He destroyed Stipe Miocic, retained his heavyweight championship, and looked unstoppable. After the fight, He did the Trump dance in celebration, signaling his political allegiances and his desire to fight at the White House. But then came the retirement announcement. Social media erupted with speculation. Was he serious? Was this a negotiation tactic? Was he really done? Within weeks, he was back, talking about fighting Alex Pereira and begging for the White House spot. Jones knows what he's done wrong. He's acknowledged his mistakes publicly. He understands why Dana doesn't trust him. But understanding the problem and fixing it are two different things. The question is whether Jones can prove, through consistent behavior over the next few months, that he's changed. So where does this leave us? Jon Jones has a few months to prove himself. He's training, he says he's healthy, and he desperately wants this opportunity. But Dana White's trust has been broken multiple times. Between canceled events, stripped titles, relinquished belts, and the most recent $30 million debacle, Jones has earned his reputation as the GOAT of chaos. Dana has made it clear, no decisions until February 2026. That's Jones's window. That's his chance. He needs to stay healthy, stay out of trouble, stay in the headlines for the right reasons, and most importantly, prove he's willing to take whatever fight the UFC offers him.
And Jon Jones says he wants to be on there too, and he says he would fight whoever the champion is at that time. But would you be okay with him like coming back and potentially winning that belt again? And you might have to go through everything.
Well, it's not even about him winning the belt. I mean, you know how I felt about him. I can't risk putting him in big positions in a big spot and have something go wrong.
Fair enough.
Yeah, especially the White House card.
First and foremost, are you retired?
I am not retired. I'm actively training 5 days a week, and I'm in the UFC's drug testing pool.
Great. And what's the status of the fight at the White House?
I don't really know. It's kind of out of my control right now. I'm training for the event. I'll be ready for the event. That's my goal. That's my intention. But ultimately, it's up to the boss.
If I did, Jon Jones would be the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world.
If I did, it would be Ilia Topuria.
Well, there you go. You do it, so good luck.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Dana, over here.
Yeah.
Olympic gold medalist Gable Stevenson has been seen recently training with Jon Jones and said himself he plans on joining the UFC. Is that someone you're interested in seeing?
So the question, what did Gable Stevenson and Jon Jones,
been
what?
training with Jon Jones, and he wants to come to UFC.
Jon Jones is training? Holy shit. That's news to me. Was he on the reality show in Thailand or something?
Oh, boy.
When you knock on my door, and I say, hello,
boy.
Satan,
Spider webs.
I believe it is time to go. Me and the devil.
Jon Jones has dropped a massive bombshell about his fighting future. Despite Dana White's 1,000,000,000 odds against him, Bones Jones is declaring he's not retired and is actively training 5 days a week for what could be the most historic UFC event ever. The White House card set for June 2026.
Going pretty well. Things are going great. The White House. Dana White said, you and Jon Jones, that's a real deal. I'm going home. I'm going to get the head down. I'm going to rest. They're testing me. I'm in the pool. I says, you always say, man, I thought that's what the pools are for, jumping in and out. But I'm back in the pool. So get ready and stay ready because damage will be done. Oval Office, White House card.
But that's not all. Conor McGregor has also thrown his hat into the ring with a cryptic Twitter post declaring McGregor's return. This raises the burning question. Are we looking at a potential dream card featuring both legendary fighters at the president's residence? Stay tuned as we break down all the explosive details. Let's start with the man who started it all, Jon Jones. Remember, this is the same fighter who announced his retirement just months ago, effectively killing a mega fight with Tom Aspinall that fans had been desperately waiting for. Dana White was not happy about that decision.
You retired, but now it seems like you're getting back into it.
Yes,
Can you
ma'am.
explain it, break it down for us a little bit?
I was retired. I felt like I was at a place where I've done it all in the MMA space, and felt like there wasn't too many more challenges for me, and I just wanted to do something more than championships and money. And Donald Trump mentioned that he wanted to have a fight at the White House Garden, and that just seems like such a huge opportunity. Just to be able to entertain the country and the world at this level at the White House, it just means the world to me. So I'm back.
But speaking at the MTV VMAs, Jones made his intentions crystal clear, and I quote, "I am not retired. I'm actively training 5 days a week, and I'm in the UFC's drug testing pool." That's right, folks. Jones has re-entered the USADA testing pool, which means he's serious about this comeback.
Jon Jones has unretired. That is correct. He says that he is now back in the testing pool. Check this out. So, of course, the UFC shares this, and this is very nice of the UFC. Jon Bones Jones, the greatest of all time.
When pressed about the White House card specifically, Jones said, "I'm training for the event. I'll be ready for the event. That's my goal. That's my intention, but ultimately it's up to the boss. The boss, of course, being Dana White, and White is not making this easy for Jones."
First and foremost, are you retired?
I am not retired. I'm actively training 5 days a week, and I'm in the UFC's drug testing pool.
Great. And what's the status of the fight at the White House?
I don't really know. It's kind of out of my control right now. I'm training for the event. I'll be ready for the event. That's my goal. That's my intention. But ultimately, it's up to the boss.
The UFC president has set the odds at 1,000,000,000 for Jones appearing on this historic card. Why? Because Jones has burned bridges before, backing out of the Tom Aspinall fight after reportedly agreeing to terms. White doesn't trust Jones with such a massive event, and frankly, can you blame him?
What makes you confident?
What makes me confident? Oh, man. I don't know. Just hard work. Hard work and doing the things that people don't like to do. I think that builds confidence. Repetition builds confidence.
Getting to your level, which is, I want to just say congratulations on everything you've done.
Thank you.
What was the biggest struggle you've dealt with in your career, but that struggle made you who you are today?
The biggest struggle? One thing that I'm learning in life right now is just to say yes to opportunities and not to allow insecurities or fears to hold you back. For example, just 2 days ago on Friday, I got this opportunity to be a presenter in one of the biggest shows in the world. Pretty intimidating opportunity, but I said yes, right? So I think one of the biggest things I'm working on in life right now is just saying yes, facing your fears head on.
What advice would you give to someone who is afraid of facing their fears every single day?
My advice would be to just do it. And oftentimes after it's done, you're going to be so glad that you did. And I do believe the best things in life are usually on the opposite side of hard work and fear.
Jon, thank you so much. Congratulations on everything.
Thank you.
Now let's talk about this unprecedented UFC White House card. Because this isn't just any fight night. We're talking about the most ambitious MMA event in history. Originally scheduled for July 4th, 2026, America's 250th birthday, the event has now been moved up to June 2026, and the details are absolutely mind-blowing. Fighters will warm up inside the White House itself. Ceremonial weigh-ins will take place on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. We're talking about fireworks, light shows, and festivities unlike anything the sport has ever seen.
So every one of our national park, battlefields, and historic sites are going to have special events in honor of America 250. And I even think we're going to have a UFC fight. Does anybody watch UFC, the great Dana White? We're going to have a UFC fight. We're going to have a UFC fight. Think of this, on the grounds of the White House. We have a lot of land there. We're going to build we're not. Dana's going to do it. Dana's great, one of a kind. Going to have a UFC fight, championship fight, full fight, like 20, 25,000 people. And we're going to do that as part of 250 also. We're going to have some incredible events, some professional events, some amateur events, but the UFC fight's going to be a big deal too.
This isn't just about entertainment. This is about history. The UFC has never held an event at the White House, and with America celebrating its 250th anniversary, this card represents the ultimate fusion of American combat sports and patriotic celebration. But here's the catch. Getting on this card isn't just about being a big name. Dana White is being extremely selective because this event will be watched by millions around the world. The stakes couldn't be higher, and that's exactly why Jones's past behavior is coming back to haunt him. Just when you thought this story couldn't get more explosive, enter Conor McGregor. The Irish superstar, who hasn't fought since November 2021, took to Twitter with a simple but powerful message: McGregor's return.
When the fight is going on, while the fight's happening and we're filming, one whole side of the backdrop will be the White House. We will absolutely positively put on the baddest card of all time.
So what would be the dream main event?
The dream main event right now would be Aspinall versus Jones.
Is it possible that McGregor and Jones would fight on the same card?
Could be.
Now, this is huge news because McGregor, unlike Jones, seems to have Dana White's blessing. Earlier reports revealed that McGregor had exchanged direct messages with White about headlining the White House card, and White reportedly loved the idea. Think about it, McGregor might not be American, but he's arguably the biggest draw in UFC history. His return would guarantee massive pay-per-view numbers and global attention for this historic event. Plus, unlike Jones, McGregor hasn't been backing out of agreed fights recently. The question everyone's asking: could we see both McGregor and Jones on the same card? A double main event featuring two of the sport's most controversial yet captivating figures? The possibility has fans around the world losing their minds on social media. But we can't forget about the elephant in the room. Tom Aspinall, the current interim heavyweight champion, has been waiting for his shot at Jones, and this White House situation has put him on high alert.
But undisputed status is disputed. That's where we're at right now.
Well, somebody said an interim champion can't be in the presence of an undisputed champion, and an undisputed champion can't be in the presence of an interim champion.
And that's true.
They both contradict each other completely.
Of course.
So we need to find out who the guy is. If it's not Jon Jones, get out of the way. I'll take the title. I'll fight someone else. Happy days.
Aspinall has been vocal about wanting to unify the heavyweight titles, and with Jones actively training again, those fight negotiations could heat up quickly. If Jones does make it onto the White House card, Aspinall versus Jones would be the perfect co-main event to complement a potential McGregor return. However, Aspinall has his own upcoming title defense against Ciryl Gane to worry about first. But make no mistake, he's keeping a close eye on these developments, and his team is surely preparing for the possibility of facing Jones on the biggest stage in UFC history.
Question for Tom. Tom, you were originally supposed to fight Jon Jones for the belt. Now it's Ciryl. So my question is simple. Considering that Jones is nearing the end and Ciryl is in his prime, who do you consider the biggest test right now?
Cyryl's the guy I'm fighting, so he's the biggest test right now. Jon Jones is retired, so I don't really have much to say on that, to be honest. So I'm fighting this guy, and this guy's really good, so I'll be as ready as I can be.
In related news that could impact Jones's White House chances, all charges against him from a February car accident in Albuquerque have been officially dropped. The Bernalillo County District Attorney's Office dismissed the case after Jones's alibi defense held up. Jones released a statement saying, "I want to thank the District Attorney's Office for carefully reviewing the facts and ultimately vindicating me completely. The simple fact is this: I was never there. I never even left my house that night, and all the evidence proved that." Keep it locked here for all the latest updates on this developing story. This is shaping up to be the fight game story of the decade, and we'll be covering every twist and turn as it unfolds. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
I'd love him to have a very highly paid boxing match.
UFC heavyweight champion Tom Aspinall and his father Andy have just dropped a career-changing message that has the entire MMA community talking. And it's not about his upcoming title defense. The newly crowned undisputed heavyweight king, who claimed his throne after Jon Jones's shocking retirement in June, has his sights set beyond the octagon, and it involves boxing gloves, massive paydays, and a direct challenge to the UFC's pay structure. This is a story about money, power, and a father's bold vision for his son's future. Let's break it all down. The bombshell came during a candid interview on Tom Aspinall's own YouTube channel, where his father and longtime coach Andy Aspinall didn't hold back about their plans. I'd love him to have a very highly paid boxing match for the money. The money's there, and I don't see why somebody as talented as Tom shouldn't have a piece of that money when the boxers are getting 100 times more. Andy Aspinall.
The money. I'd love him to have a very highly paid boxing match. For the money. You know, the money's there, and I don't see why somebody as talented as Tom shouldn't have a piece of that money when the boxers are getting 100 times more than 100 times more.